Hi, my name is Mark Bredden. I'm the Operations Section Chief for CAL Fire Incident Management Team 3, and we're talking about today, Thursday's fire on the CZU Lightning Complex. Starting up on the top in the North Zone, Division Golf and Kilo are holding very well. Had a chance to take a reconnaissance flight this afternoon. First time I've had a chance to fly. We had good weather to be able to do so, and so got a good look overall from the aerial view of what the fire is doing. So although we're seeing smoke production throughout the fire, a lot of it is deep interior to the fire, and it's just a lot of it's just burning out various areas, and that's kind of normal that we see on fires. So when you do see a lot of the smoke production, that's simply what it is until we can completely extinguish it. But again, this is holding very well, just like we want it. In the Butano Park area, the fire was probably the most active, and most of the smoke was laying in there based on the southerly flow of the wind. That was starting to push the fire down towards our line a little bit more actively than we've seen in the past few days. But that's actually kind of what we want to do, because once we can bring it down to the line, we can do a lot more control efforts. But this is probably the most active we've seen because we've had some wind on it. Again, nothing that's a significant threat. It was just burning the ground fuels down to the line, and that's a good thing. We have resources up there that we're taking advantage of that opportunity, and they'd be able to suppress the fire as it came down. Big hazard that we've had in the Butano colony area is the trees. The fire weakened trees are becoming a real issue for us. They're starting to fall. One fell on a structure today. Fortunately, nobody was there or injured, but it did destroy the structure. So we've passed the point of where the fire is destroying structures. Now we have the potential, as in this case, where a fire weakened tree has destroyed a structure. That's a cause of concern, so we are now developing strategies and assessing what we need to do to try to render that area safe through using specialty resources to cut and get rid of those hazard trees. That's going to be an ongoing process. Obviously, a lot of trees in this area, and this is going to be a threat moving forward, not only for the public, but also our firefighters. And again, as we get into the repopulation process, that's one of the check boxes, is part of the returning folks back and making it safe, is making sure that we don't have those hazard trees in the area. Moving down the coast, doing very well. I did notice that a lot of the fire destruction to the vegetation along the coast was significant. And probably some of the biggest destruction, which was unique, that we usually don't see along a coastline. So again, some different fuel types, not quite as heavy as we've seen in the interior or the eastern part, but nevertheless significant destruction of a lot of that vegetation. Getting down into Davenport, again, that's looking really good. Good control lines around it. Fire is still hung up there. A couple of these drainages are holding the fire, and we are developing strategies. Now that we have more resources coming in, especially the hand crews, is what we need to work on some of these drainages. They're going to start developing a good plan, getting in there and putting those resources to work so we can knock that out, especially with our wind that we're going to be seeing coming here in the coming days, and the hot and drier temperatures. So a little bit of a concern still. We're confident with our control lines. It's just areas that we're just going to have to start paying attention to as we start bringing a lot of this down to something that's very manageable for us. Lines along the south are holding very well. That looked really good. So the UC campus and the community of Santa Cruz looking really good. Moving up the I-9 or the Highway 9 corridor. Our burn operation that we did around Felton yesterday is continuing to burn. Some large pockets that they're still between our fire line and the main fire. That's going to take a couple days for that to burn out. A good controlled slow burn, which is what we want, and nothing that is very dramatic or that's going to help destroy more vegetation than need be, or the trees. So that's going very well, and once that really burns, then that's going to put a nice good surrounding pocket around the community of Felton. And we're very happy and pleased with that operation. So a lot of good hard work by the folks, firefighters that did that yesterday. Long hours. They were up all through the night doing that burn operation into the morning, and they were able to finish that up early this morning. So very happy with that. Moving up towards Ben Lomond, Brookdale, Boulder Creek. Those communities are looking really good. Fire's still well up on the ridge. We're continuing to put the line around those. It's a painstaking effort, long effort, but we're making a lot of progress. Very happy with that. There was questions about the California National Guard. Are we using them? Are they going to be utilized? We did receive a couple hand crews yesterday. They were not the ones that were training. They're ones that have been trained up and have been in place for a number of months, which is great because they're experienced and they're ready to go to work. We've put them to work. They've been working down in our division Tango Tango. which is down in this area, and so they're doing good work out there. So we have the National Guard as another tool in our toolbox on this incident, and again, we're bringing more and more resources in. We're now over 2,000 firefighting resources on the fire. That's fantastic news, and as soon as we're bringing them in, we're putting them right to work. So the Highway 9 corridor, again, continued work. It's going to be a work in progress. Communities are doing really good. Air was really clear through there with the wind patterns, and so hopefully we can soon eventually get folks back to their homes. But again, there's a lot of infrastructure work that needs to be done by the utility companies, so to not only render those communities safe to move back in, but also that they have their comforts of home once they move back in. Bonnie Doon area, continued work, again, painstaking work, a lot of work to be done in there, a lot of great work has been done in there. So that's going to be an ongoing effort, a long-term effort for that community. We've been able to get in deeper with our road groups. Our damage inspection teams are getting in there. That's why you're seeing the number of destroyed structures are continuing to go up. As I've said before, it's not because they're being destroyed now by the fire, but it's because they have been destroyed by the fire, and now the inspection teams are getting in there doing their job and assessing what's been damaged and what's been destroyed. So they're over 50%, around 65%, I believe, as far as inspections that are done. That's fantastic news as well. 236, Caltrans doing a good job working their way in towards the park. A lot of work there, a lot of down trees, power poles, power lines, that sort of thing. The utilities are doing their jobs, getting in there and starting to restore their infrastructure. So it's a constant work in progress. As our containment gets closer to the 25-30%, then we're already starting to develop plans for fire suppression repair. So going in and repairing those areas where we put in dozer line and hand line, so that we try to return everything back to normal. Since some of it is in the state park, we're very mindful of that. So we want to try to return it as best we can to normal. And then when the rainy season comes, that it doesn't create more of an issue by having that disturbed soil in there. So that's another really good thing. Our air program, the marine layer stayed in really thick today, so we didn't get to fly as much as we'd like as we did the past few days. With the weather that we're going to be seeing coming in this weekend, it should be opening up a great opportunity for our aircraft to fly just like we were before. Timing out our aircraft, being able to drop lots of water to support our ground troops and the hot spots, because some of these areas are very remote. We can't get the ground troops quite in there yet, so the helicopters are taking care of that for us and at least knocking down the fire enough so that when we do get the ground crews in there, it's going to make their job a lot easier. So that's our effort, that's our strategy moving forward. There's been a question about, they hear a lot on the briefings about our different fuel types and our 1,000-hour, 100-hour fuel. What does that mean? We take our different fuel types that we have, everything from grass, which is considered a 1-hour fuel, to the large trees, which becomes your 1,000-hour fuel. And when we do a lot of our fuels testing and monitoring, whether how dry it is or how wet it is, we use those fuel types, and we do a bunch of measurements, scientific measurements, and that helps us determine, will this burn or will it not burn? The difference between, for instance, a 100-hour fuel is anything that is about 1 inch in diameter, about 3 inches in diameter, and then 1,000-hour is about 3 inch to about 8 inch or greater in diameter. So that's the heavier fuel. So when you hear our fire behavior analysts talking about the 100 and 1,000-hour fuels being extremely dry, that's an issue and a problem for us, because that means that the heaviest fuels are the most flammable that they possibly can be. Our 1-hour fuels, for instance, the grassy type fuels and the forest stuff, those are ones that they call it 1 hour because within an hour's time, their fuel moistures can change based on the relative humidity in the environment and so forth. So it has a rapid turnaround. Your 100 and 1,000-hour fuels, slower turnaround as far as moisture that they draw and that they lose. So now we're at a very dry part. We're about a month or 2 months ahead of where those 1,000 and 100-hour fuels should be in their moisture and dry content. So that's concerning for us, because that means things are primed to burn if we have fire introduced into that environment. So again, we typically see in the September-October time period, that's when things tend to be the most driest at that 100,000-hour fuel. We're in August, we're seeing that dryness, and that's going to be a cause of concern. And so moving forward, for people that are recreating or being out in the wildlands, doing whatever it is they do, that they need to still be very mindful and very, very cautious of fire, because everything is very primed to burn at this point in time. So that's our message to you, is please be careful moving forward. Overall, we're looking really good with the incident. We're expecting to have continued progress, and it is going to take a while. Our repopulations are moving forward. Scotts Valley is repopulated today. In the coming days, there'll be more repopulation. Some of the areas are a little harder hit. It's going to take a little longer, but we're doing everything we can to work with our law enforcement partners to do an effective and efficient repopulation, get people back home, and put this away and move on with our lives. Thank you.